Hello and welcome to the fourth video of the tutorial series for Goal the Club Manager. Before we get into the settings that will make you a true master tactician, we would like to give a few hints about the contents of the other tutorial videos. Part 1 deals with finances, more precisely with income possibilities, so that your job as a club manager is not endangered by financial difficulties. In Part 2, we showed you how to spend money to improve your team on the transfer market or through efficient scouting. And with the third part, you learned how to not only get your team fit through training measures, but also how to tap the potential of individual players. But whether this all works will be seen on the pitch, and there, of course, the basic tactical orientation is important, the possibilities of which we will show you in this tutorial video. You can access the Tactics screen via the chessboard in the office or the Tactics tab in the Team view. Here you will find a pre-selection of playing styles, for each of which 4 formations are available that are matched to the respective style. In addition to these default formations, which you can of course change at any time, you can also create individual formations. This means that even unusual basic settings are possible, although their success is of course highly debatable. By the way, don't be confused by the standard 4-4-2 buttons. As soon as you move the positions in the individual style, the formation adjusts itself so that it quickly can become a 4-3-3, 3-3-4 or whatever you fancy. In general, by shifting the positions on the pitch, you can adjust the basic formation to suit the available personnel or your personal preferences. Depending on the chosen playstyle, certain instructions are preset, which you can see here. For example, if wing play is selected, the instructions will automatically preset the attacking sides. But of course, you can also make your own choices now or later. The style of play determines whether the team should be more balanced, defensive or offensive. The toughness determines how rigorous the players are in tackles. But be careful, the referee might show you more cards then. In addition to the number of duels won, the risk of injury is also influenced. A high level of intensity can improve strength, but leads to an increased loss of freshness. Finally, positional fidelity determines the player's radius of action. This means how strongly they stick to their position given the formation. Using the offensive and defensive buttons, you can define guidelines on how your team should behave when it wins or loses the ball. Ideally, the default settings associated with the playing styles are also those with which the team has been familiarized through training. You can recognize these by the green bars going to the right. Under Others options, you can specify that the players should take it easy and take a step back when they have a comfortable lead in order to save energy. This has an effect on the intensity first and foremost. A special monetary victory bonus can release additional energy, but should only be used with caution, as a kind of permanent winning bonus can have the opposite effect. Once you have found your favorite formation or the playing system with which you want to get the win in the next game, you can see immediately in the lineup whether you have the personnel for it. Do you see orange or red markings? This indicates that a player is playing in an unfamiliar position. For example, a defender is playing up front, shown in red, or he is playing in the right part of the team, but not in his main position, indicated by orange. Players who are not used in their main position receive a penalty to their strength. This can be minimized, however, if the player in question plays in a secondary position that he has learned. Here you can arrange all the players manually and substitute them accordingly so that everything fits. Or you can let the assistant fill in and change the lineup as best as possible, if necessary with certain special instructions from you, such as the most motivated or the fittest players should be given preference. By the way, you can also change the standard formation from here without much ado. This button takes you to the selection, which is then of course also transferred back to the squad view, where you can also adjust the positions. And if you return to the tactics screen from here, you will see that your changes will be reflected here as well. If you want to know how your lineup compares to the next opponent, you can do so on this screen. Here the team parts are compared with each other. To swap players on the field, either drag the player from the bench to the desired position, or you look at the list and drag a player from there onto the field in order to exchange him. You can also compare players directly with each other. To do this, you select one player. Doesn't matter if it's a bench player or one of the regular team. If you now move the mouse pointer over another player, you get a comparison of the most important values and can get a quick overview of whether it would be worthwhile to replace him. Perhaps also with regard to fitness, form or motivation. Small things can make a big difference on the pitch. In the task assignment view, you can view and assign tasks. Logical, isn't it? For each of the standard tasks, you have the list of currently assigned players on the left and your entire squad on the right. You can now either move the position within the task using drag and drop or add new players from the squad. If one of these task situations happens in the game, this list is then processed from top to bottom, whereby it naturally takes into consideration whether the player's on the pitch or not. In the detail view, you will find further information such as the presumed lineup and formation with which the opponent will play in the next match. All opposing players with tasks, free kicks, corner kicks, etc. are marked accordingly. You can use this as a basis, for example, to adjust your team formation in detail. Or you say, who cares? We only look at ourselves and trust in our strength. The opponents should adapt to us, not the other way around. Last but not least, we would like to draw your attention to the medical department. Because even if we don't wish it on you and your team, it is highly unlikely that your team will get through the season without a single injury. And if so, congratulations. Here you can see the injured players, the expected duration of absence, whether they are already in rehab, and when or against whom you can probably use them again. Here your medical staff informs you not only about the beginning and end of injuries, but also if there is any news such as delays or acceleration of the healing process. This brings us to the end of the 4th tutorial video for Goal, the Club Manager. In the next part, we will finally get onto the pitch when we show you what possibilities and options you have to direct your team during match day. Thank you for your attention and have fun with Goal, the Club Manager.